Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
On the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, we are seeing very less crowd initially, but it's nice that people are still, our devotees are still there to help us and come for this festival. And as there is a prayer in Brahma Samhita, where Brahmaji prays, he says, maybe we all can recite together. Yadapadapallavam yugam vinidhaya kumbha Vande pranam samaye saganadhiraja Vigna vihantu malamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So we see Brahmaji, how he is bringing up this conception of Ganeshji. And as we all know that today is Ganesh Chaturthi, and Ganeshji is prominently known as Vignaharta. It is known as Vignaharta. Everybody of us are aware about this term. कि कुछ भी विघ्न ऑब्स्टेकल होता है तो संकट दूर करे सबसे वैसा आरती में है ना, देयर इज दिस आरती जय गणेश देवा. ठीक है. सो फ्रॉम दिस व्हाट वी कैन लर्न, व्हाटएवर हमने जो बोला उसका क्या अर्थ था. उसका अर्थ है ब्रह्मा जी सेज दिस थिंग दैट लॉर्ड गणेश ऑन हिज हेड, गणपति भगवान का जो हेड है वो बताया गया इट इज लाइक अ ट्यूमली लाइक अ माउंटेन जैसा है. इट्स लाइक दिस ऐसा बल्कि रहता है. तो इट इज सेड ब्रह्मा जी सेज दैट on that head Ganeshji, while paying obeisance to Lord Govinda is placing his feet on the head of Lord Ganesh, and because of placing his feet on the head of Lord Ganesha is getting that power of Vigna Vihantu Malamasya Jagatrayasya. In all these three worlds, wherever there is obstacle, Ganeshji can remove it. ठीक है. So we can understand that is not just because of Ganeshji, that is because of Govinda or because of Krishna, right? So we have started this session by playing a very nice verse, right, in context to Ganesh Chaturthi. That part is also fulfilled from our end. And today, as you might be seeing, the topic is dealing with confusions in life. The reason we are seeing this topic is because we are in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we are in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. All of us are there. All of us know last time it was 3.1 where Arjuna asked a question, and this time we are still continuing the third chapter. And we are seeing how Krishna is clearing the confusion of Arjuna. Right? Last time we saw the question that Arjuna had, and this time in 3.2 also we see that Arjuna is still mentioning the same thing. He is asking Krishna to dispel the illusion or dispel the confusion that he has. Dispel the confusion that he has based on the words of Krishna. Now you can see there is a child here, or a girl I would say, I'm not sure. There is a scarf in her neck, and eventually we can see that he or her is confused, he is bewildered, he is illusioned by many thoughts, right? We can see there are arrows going maybe, certainly, yes, no, never, I am stuck. So this is the current situation of us, correct? We are a student, we are a working professional, whatever field we may be, we have confusions in our life. There's a very nice quote that says that when the confusion ends, so ends all the suffering, right? So we can see from this perspective, when I personally read that quote, I understood that even Arjuna had a lot of confusion in the starting of Bhagavad Gita, and that's why he was mentally suffering. He was suffering a lot. And as it is said,
उद्धारेद आत्मा आत्मा नाम अवसदेद आत्मैव आत्मनो बंधुर आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः. It is said that your mind is one of your best friend and your worst enemy, right? बंधुर आत्मा आत्मानस्तस्य येनात्मैव आत्मनः जित अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तते आत्मशत्रुवत्. That when the mind is working in context to the activities that are beneficial for you as a person or for your spiritual life, then you can say that mind is your best of friends. Otherwise, it's your worst of enemies. That's why in 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam Avanti Brahman we get that story where he himself says that it is because of my mind that I am troubled. ये मेरी बुद्धि की वजह से, मेरे मन की वजह से मैं विचलित हो रहा हूँ इतना. एक्सटर्नल कुछ नहीं, एक्सटर्नल इज नथिंग, इट इज जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ माई माइंड. एंड दैट्स व्हेन अगेन इट इज सेड जीतात्मा प्रशांतस्य समात्मा सुखाहितः शीतोष्णो सुखे दुखेषु तथा मानपमानयो. वन हु हैज कॉन्कर्ड हिज माइंड, he has that equanimity, he is equipoised in every situation is there under. No matter if there is heat, there is cold. Now there is cold, earlier it was heat, right? Or he is in a turmoil situation, in a dangerous situation, but a person who has conquered his mind, he is able to be there. And one of the very practical example is Srila Prabhupada, right? We can see that when Prabhupada landed onto the Boston port, Boston harbor, Prabhupada wrote this poem, right? And Prabhupada in that poem says, "Nachao nachao Prabhu nachao more, kashtera katputli ami nachao more." Prabhupada has so much dependence on Krishna, has full faith in Krishna, that he is saying that now everything is handed on to you. And now I am leaving everything onto you, you do what you want. Right? And then, as we all know, that how Prabhupada built all this institution, and in one of his temple, one of his very important places, we are sitting here. So for further ado, let us get started with the topic. So we'll today discuss about dealing with confusions in life with a Bhagavad Gita perspective. Okay. So now I was surfing through internet, as thought there might be some acronym that we can use, which is very beneficial for us, not just for preaching, for us individual self as well. Some of them I am able to understand, some of them I am still confused on. But what I got to know is that for chapter 2, as we all know, there is Niskam Yoga, then there is Sakam Yoga Krishna talks about, then again Krishna talks about Sthita Prajna, and a lot of various concepts are talked about, right? So now these are the two acronyms, the very simple acronyms that we can understand and we can implement when we are reading Bhagavad Gita. One of them, see on your left hand side you can see contents of Gita summarized, correct? So that is chapter 2. चैप्टर 2 है जो हो गया ये, ठीक है? किसके मन में शंका है? अभी भी चैप्टर 2 चल रहा है? नहीं, ठीक. तो we all are there on the same page ideally. So chapter 2 had the acronym for chapter 2, और चैप्टर 2 को याद रखने का एक बेस्ट तरीका है कि चैप्टर 2 में क्या हुआ है उसको याद रखने का तरीका है मेमोरी टैग्स, राइट? व्हेन वी वर इन स्कूल, सो वी यूज्ड टू मेक मेमोरी टैग्स सो दैट वी यूज्ड टू रिमेंबर एवरीथिंग. इन द सेम वे वी कैन सी हाउ वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड चैप्टर 2. चैप्टर 2 को यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड बाय दिस एक्रोनिम गीता. यू कैन रिमेंबर इट बाय गीता. यू कैन सी जी मीन्स गुरु, वेर कृष्णा कार्पण्य दोषोपहता स्वभाव. कृष्णा सरेंडर्ड ऑन टू Arjuna surrendered on to Krishna and considered him as his guru. So that's where G gets green tick. Then we have identity. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutta bhavito va na bhuyo. Right? So that's the identity. Dehinosmin netadehe. We got to know about the identity. Then the two dharmas. This part even I was a bit confused, so I researched where it is there. Then I got to know it is there in 2.31, where it is talked about Swadharma. Swadharma means one's duty, and then there Swa means my and Dharma means occupation or duty. And there Krishna in the purport Prabhupada talks about that this Swadharma can be divided into two parts. One is Paradharma and other is Aparadharma. Paradharma essentially means spiritual occupation, and Apara means Alagya means not a spiritual occupation, right? जैसा अपरा हमने पढ़ा है ना, आगे जाके कृष्णा की एनर्जी आती है 7th चैप्टर में. तो para means spiritual occupation and apara dharma means that is material occupation. And spiritual occupation क्या है? Everybody knows. We are coming here. Most of you are coming for a long period of time. You know that the spiritual occupation is to take up the act of devotional service and do bhakti. हरे कृष्णा का जप करना है, टेम्पल आना है कि नहीं, मंगला आरती अटेंड करनी है, सेवा करनी है हमारी, जो भी नियोजित सेवा है. So these all we can say that at least when we'll keep on doing this thing, these will count into the swadharma or spiritual activities, para activities. And what are apara activities? Apara activities are material occupation. अब आज के consideration में hardly there is any people, we can see here the population itself, who are aware about the spiritual dharma of them. Right? There are very few people or very bunch of people who are coming to ISKCON or who are actually reading the scriptures, who are understanding ki what I should be doing and what I should not be doing. Correct? So for them, these apara thing is there. The material occupation is there. That is varna ashram, which we know, right? Varna means brahmachari grihast. That is not varna, that is ashram. वर्ण मीन्स योर ऑक्यूपेशन. आप क्या कर रहे हो, आप कौन सा कार्य कर रहे हो, आप ब्राह्मण हो, क्षत्रिय हो, वैश्य हो या शूद्र हो. एंड वर्ण आश्रम मीन्स यू आर इन विच आश्रम. आर यू ब्रह्मचारी, आर यू गृहस्थ, आर यू वानप्रस्थ और आर यू संन्यास. सो दिस इज अबाउट टू धर्मस. देन लास्ट में इट कम्स अबाउट आत्माराम. एंड आत्माराम देर आर न्यूमरस श्लोका दैट कम्स इन टू पिक्चर. प्रजाहाति यदा कामन तानि सर्वाणि संयम्या अपूर्यमाणम अचल प्रतिष्ठम. So all these things makes us aware about Atmaram, who is a person who is transcendental. A proper yogi कौन है जो कृष्णा consciousness में है. So this is a simple way of remembering Gita chapter 2, that is Gita. Chapter 2 को याद रखना है तो गीता को याद रखो. गुरु, आइडेंटिटी, दो प्रकार के धर्म एंड देन आत्माराम. Of course everything is not inclusive, but still up to an extent understanding मिलेगा. And then we have कर्म योगा. This is the third chapter that is going on. Last time Prabhuji talked about the first shloka. Today we will be reading about the second shloka. But just to remember this chapter, you can remember it in this acronym TREE. T से त्याग होगा. That we'll see in the upcoming classes. Then rungs of the ladder. Rungs of the ladder means we know that Krishna talks in third chapter that annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyo sambhavat yagna bhavati parjanyo yagna karma samudbhavam. He also talks about how when this creation happened, Krishna gave all the activities for the sacrifice with the hands of demigods. और उन्होंने बोला कि आप ये लोगों को दीजिए, लोग इससे कार्य करेंगे तो you will be also happy, may be happy, मतलब everyone will be happy. समान ये इक्वानिमिटी का सिचुएशन होगा. Then there is exemplary and then enemy of the soul, that is the lust. ठीक है. Now let us go over this shloka 3.2. We all can open the Vedabase खोलो इसमें बोलिए, चलेगा क्या? अब बेटर होगा ना, बिकॉज परपट पढ़नी पड़ेगा. Three 3.2. Okay, we all can recite together. व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तद्देकं वाद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयो अहम् आप्नुयाम्. व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसैव मे तद्देकं वाद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयो अहम् आप्नुयाम्. Anybody can recite.
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
बुद्धिं मोहायसेव मे
तदेकं वाद निश्चित्य
येन श्रेयोऽहम् आप्नुयाम्. ठीक है, I'll read the translation directly. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. In the previous chapter, as a prelude to Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained. जो हमने देखा भी, right? We saw Gita का acronym for the second chapter, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of the sense by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and position of the neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness, either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his question, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantika Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyotapadakamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamsya Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschayata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So Arjuna's dilemma is still continued. We can see he is still confused. That section is still going on, where he is asking that my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instruction, कि आपने जो भी कहा उससे मैं मोहित, मतलब आई एम नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, मैं समझ नहीं आ रहा है मुझे आपने जो भी बोला है. तो इसके लिए प्लीज़ ऐसा एक निश्चित बात बताओ, एक ऐसा फाइनल, गिव मी अ फाइनल कंक्लूजन कि क्या करना चाहिए मुझे. ठीक है, शुड आई, इफ ही सेज राइट, इफ यू किम करोति घोरे माम, इफ यू थिंक दैट इंटेलिजेंस इज बेटर देन व्हाई यू वांट मी टू फाइट. ओके, now within this shloka, while just reading it, we can see that how Krishna is trying to be more inquisitive. He is trying to be a very sincere student. We can see it very clearly, right? Every time we see if there is a doubt, Arjuna is questioning Krishna. Arjuna is not leaving it कि ठीक है मैं बाद में होमवर्क कर लूँगा. ऐसा होता है, right? It happens in the classes. When we go to the class, we are being taught something. If you are not able to understand, we say that ठीक है मैं घर पे जाके I'll just read it, you know, I'll मैं YouTube कर लूँगा, I'll do YouTube, or I'll, you know, take shelter of Coursera या मैं कोई कोर्स करके I'll try to understand that. But we can see here Arjuna is acting as a very sincere student, and Krishna also as a very sincere teacher. That's why we can see that's the perfection. So when there is a correct teacher and there is a correct student, the knowledge that is being transferred is automatically perfect. And that's why at the last of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was clear about what he has to do. Not like us कि YouTube से पढ़ा, YouTube में तो a square plus b square ऐसा है and Google पे a square b square ऐसा है. He was not confused. Why? Because he had that faith in Krishna, and whatever he had doubt, he just cleared it. So this is a person, you can see he is confused, and that is the situation of Arjuna, right? Because of Mahamaya, Krishna ensured that Arjuna will become bewildered, and because of posing everything, matlab you can just understand, like you are there in first year of engineering or first year of any this thing FYJC, and you have been given 10-12 reference book. You will be confused what you have to read exactly or what you have to understand out of that. Correct? Even though you have read all those things, even you have understood, but still there will be a slight ray of confusion. The same situation was with Arjuna. A lot of paths were there, and that's why you can see Arjuna is still confused. कि बहुत path है, what should I do? And you can see, when does a person become confused? When can we say that Anurag Prabhu, for instance, is confused, or I myself am confused? We can say that a person is confused when there are more than one path in front of him. When there are more than one option in front of that person, at that time we can say that that person is confused. For example, in Mumbai itself we can see that we have various standard of livings. Somebody prefer to live in Malabar Hill, somebody is living in Andheri, somebody is living in Ville Parle, somebody is living in Bhiwandi, Kopar Khairana, etc. So we see, when there are multiple choices, people become confused as to मैं वहाँ घर ले लूँ, यहाँ का पैसा ऐसा है, मेरा उसका मतलब, you know, the rate of the flat is this, rate of the flat is that. We are confused on that stage. Second, we can see when usually we go for shopping, when we see more than one option of a pant. Levi's का भी jeans है, Tommy Hilfiger का भी jeans है, and you have Armani का भी jeans है. So you get confused कि what should I buy? So in general, the propensity of confusion is there. Correct. And that's what happened with Arjuna. Now, as I said right here in this verse, Arjuna is trying to be very clear with Krishna that tad ekam vada nishchitya. You please very clearly tell me or clean everything, because I am not able to understand all these things, right? From that we can understand that the relation is very correct. The relation between Krishna and Arjuna, of a disciple, of a teacher and of a student, is very correct. And that's why we can see that it is there said, right? Avaishnav mukhud girdam putam hari kartamritam shravanam naiva kartavyam sarpochishtam yatapaya. Whenever there is a person from, not from our sampradaya or in general, who is not following or not faith in the scriptures, and is trying to talk about the scriptures, we eventually see that that knowledge is just like a poisoned milk. And here we can see a very clean description or understanding from the scriptures that we have. Here we can see Sandipani Muni, Krishna and Balram, when they were in Ujjain in the ashram, right? There they had learnt, right? The 64 days mein they had learned 64 kalas. It is very difficult. In Krishna book, very detailed description is given about that. Then below we can see the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then again there is a rishi who is just instructing his disciple. So we can see that this is actually a very sincere relationship between a guru and a disciple, right? Or a person who is questioning and the one who is answering, by keeping Krishna and Arjuna in mind. And on the contrary, we can see that there is this person who is acting like a magician. देखो यहाँ पे you can see that he is doing some tricks, right? And below also there is a person who would have done something to that girl, and she is also again confused, right? And then in the below you can see there is a person who is saying, yes, I can get you this many followers, this many money, I can get you everything and anything. So we can easily make out, right? Fake one कौन से? One on the left hand side. जो भी है वो सब क्या है? Fake है. Why they are fake? Because they are trying to ठीक है. So we can say they are fake. And there is this one thing that we can understand, right? Before, when Prabhupada had written Bhagavad Gita, a lot of people have provided commentary on Bhagavad Gita. There was this person, Radha Krishna Pillai, who was the president of India at one point of time. He had also written purport on Bhagavad Gita. And there was, again we had Mahatma Gandhi, right, who written purport on Bhagavad Gita. But what Prabhupada used to say that these people, because Bhagavad Gita being popular, they take the shelter of Bhagavad Gita to get popularized. That is not because of their writing. That is just because of the popularity of Bhagavad Gita. कि Bhagavad Gita popular है. Why somebody is coming here to listen? Because of Bhagavad Gita. That is first thing. Second comes the speaker. So Prabhupada was saying that these people who are actually, saying that we have written purport on this, purport on that. So they are trying to take shelter of Bhagavad Gita and get popularity. They are leeching on Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said like that they are leeching on Bhagavad Gita, which is not a correct thing. And there was one person as well, you guys might know Osho, right? There is a book that he has written, Krishna, the Man and His Philosophy. So we can understand how these people who have no faith, they are just trying to write about Krishna, they are just trying to explain about those things, and without any faith, without any conviction and all. On parallelly, we see that there are great personality who are actually glorifying Krishna. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marute. There are various personality who are actually glorifying Krishna. They are singing the verses from Samveda, from various section of Upanishad. There are various sets of yogis who are meditating on Krishna, right? But these sort of people, they don't understand it. They consider ki theek hai, Krishna is just a person. I have a practical example while doing book distribution. I have seen that when I was distributing book, a person came and he was asking me, what are you distributing? I said, it's Bhagavad Gita. And he said, kya? I said, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna ne jo Arjun ko kahi. He said, kaun Krishna? And I was like, अब मैं उनको समझाने जाऊंगा तो there will be a clash. So then I said, okay, thank you. So he said, constitution do. But again, as it is said, right, this is also constitution. Right? It's just the difference of the perspective that we see through it. Now, just coming on to again this shloka, there are several words that are very important that I felt personally by looking at this shloka. Matlab one thing to is there ki Arjuna has doubts and is asking Krishna, but there are a couple of points that are very important. One thing is Shreya. We can see that there are two sort of things. One is Shreya and one other is Preyas. Shreya is the ultimate benefit and Preya जो होता है वो होता है immediate pleasure. Prabhupada के lecture में whenever we listen Prabhupada lecture, Prabhupada every time gives this example pertaining to Shreya and Preya that let's consider there is a child, balastavat krida sakta. If there is a child, his natural tendency is to play. खेलेगा, पढ़ाई तो ऐसा तो नहीं कि नासा में चले जाएगा, right? If there is a small child, he will like to play. We can see in the temple as well. So Prabhupada gives an example for this Shreya that if there is a child who likes to play and he is just playing every day in and out, not considering anything, not having fear about his future or not even being introspective about his future, he is just thinking about अभी का कि मैं अभी खेलूंगा, बेब्लेड खेलूंगा, भौरा खेलूंगा तो बहुत आनंद आएगा मुझे. But for instance, his father comes to him and he says कि oh child, I want you to study, you should read books. Because when you will read books, you will actually, your future will be bright, like that. But when the child will consider कि हाँ मेरे पापा is saying something, very important for me, कि मैं अगर पुस्तक पढ़ूंगा, if I'll go to school, if I'll go to college, or for instance, if I'll come to ISKCON, I'll have a permanent benefit, or I'll get that permanent benefit, right? So that we can term that as Shreya. That is what we will get an ultimate benefit rather than focusing on the immediate pleasure. One more thing that we see here is moha. That is illusion. And Arjuna says to Krishna that you are bewildering me. What is that word? 1 minute. Just a moment. Yes. He says that you are bewildering. You are bewildering. And we have seen a lot of pastimes where Krishna has actually bewildered many of them in Vrindavan. Recently, I heard a very nice pastime. It was regarding the forest fire that Krishna devoured, right? I'll just come on to that. This forest fire. So these are the images through which we can understand. These are some of the images that I have collated, through which you can understand how Krishna has kaisa Mohan. Mohan, when we say Mohan, the name of Krishna is Mohan as well, right? Mohan means one who is illusion, जो bewilder कर दे आपको. आप सोच में पड़ जाओ कि what is happening, कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है. Correct? There are various leelas. Any leela of Krishna is like that. It's just illusion. उसमें से one leela that I heard recently and that I heard in a very different way, I liked it a lot. So that is this forest fire. So we know that Krishna has a lot of friends. One of the friends of Krishna, this was narrated by Radha Govind Maharaj. One of the friends of Krishna is known as Mansukh. Krishna has other friends as well. Sridham hai, Madhu Mangal hai, then you have Stoka Krishna, etc. There are a lot of friends, a lot of small friends of Krishna that go with Krishna to play around. And one of his friend named as Mansukh, So this part that you are seeing, the first thing, ये जो दिख रहा है आग वाला, this and the last, we are talking about that thing, right? So what once happened is that there was a fire in the forest, and eventually all the friends were around Krishna. Oh Krishna, Krishna, please save me. Krishna, Krishna, Mahabahu. They were calling out Krishna. And there was Mansukh as well who was standing. And then Krishna said, don't worry, I am here. I am going to save every one of you. Even though there is forest fire, Krishna says that don't worry, I am going to save you. आप सब इमेजिन कर सकते हो, आप घर के अंदर हो और फायर ब्रिगेड वाला आपको फोन पे बोल रहा है, सर डरो मत, आप आराम से बस बैठे रहो, मैं आके आपको बचा रहा हूँ. तो हाउ यू विल फील, राइट? यू विल बी लाइक अरे मेरा घर जल रहा है, एवरीथिंग इज बर्निंग, आप मेरे को बोल रहे हो आराम करो. हाउ दैट इज पॉसिबल? हो ही नहीं सकता. एंड देन कृष्णा देयर इज सेइंग डोंट वरी, आई एम हियर, एवरीवन जस्ट क्लोज योर आईज. तो सब अपना आंख बंद करके, एवरीबडी वाज जस्ट क्लोजिंग देयर आईज, एंड देन कृष्णा वाज in getting in the fire. दिख रहा है fire, Krishna is taking the fire inside, and this Mansukh, friend of Krishna, he was standing somewhat at a distance from Krishna, and he was saying कि हर बार कृष्णा ऐसा ही करता है कि he will say just close your eyes or I'll be back in some minutes, and Krishna would go off. So he said कि now let me see what Krishna is doing. So everybody was, अब दिखते रहोगे, right? In this picture you can see कि सबका आँख बंद है ये वाले में. This one, last one, right? Last वाला picture is there, right? You can see everybody eyes is closed. So Mansukh, when he was standing beside, or he was standing at a far distance from Krishna, he opened one of his eyes slightly, and he was just looking what Krishna was doing, and he saw Krishna is devouring the fire. Krishna is taking in all the fire, and Mansukh was like, ये कैसे हो सकता है? Krishna is at our age, how can you do that? And then वो देखते देखते उसका दूसरा आँख भी खोल के, and he is just watching that. Krishna, how are you doing this? And Krishna, when जब वो fire को he was taking it inside, Krishna just looked at a glance at Mansukh, and Mansukh was like, अब मैं, I'll just tell to Yashoda Maiya now. Now you are gone, Krishna. Now I have seen you taking in the whole fire. This is one of the most dangerous thing. How can you do that? Then Krishna knew कि ठीक है, I can manage it. This is why we are talking about illusion. How Krishna is, मुंह में कैसे डालते कृष्णा. So what happened? Mansukh गया एक रास्ते से, and Krishna, he also went at his home by some another way, some shortcut, and he reached first. Before Mansukh के पहले वो घर पे पहुंच गए कृष्णा अपने, and घर पे गए, यशोदा माँ को मदर आई नीड मिल्क. कृष्णा ने बोला कि मम्मी मुझे गरम दूध चाहिए, प्लीज प्लीज गिव मी. एंड देन यशोदा माँ वाज लाइक व्हाट इज हैपनिंग एग्जैक्टली, अचानक से क्या हो गया लाला, लाइक व्हाई आर यू सो, यू नो, व्हाई आर यू सो हंगर. हमें अचानक से फ्रॉम वेयर यू आर गोइंग टू प्ले देयर, यू आर प्लेइंग देयर आउटसाइड विद द चाइल्ड, एंड अगेन वहाँ से कैसे आ गए. देन कृष्णा सेड नो, आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू एवरीथिंग लेटर, जस्ट गिव मी प्लीज अ ग्लास ऑफ वार्म मिल्क, आई वांट हॉट मिल्क. एंड देन यशोदा माता बॉट utensil of hot milk, and Krishna drank it a bit thoda, and then he said no, it's too hot, cool it down. So Yashoda Mata और ठंडा किया उसको, and again Krishna drank. He said no, it's still hot, cool it down again. And then again Yashoda Mata iterated the whole milk again, and then she did like 10 times, and then Krishna drank that milk, and then Krishna ran. चले गए कृष्णा. फिर सीन से कृष्णा इज आउट नाउ. And then Yashoda Mata then again got busy in her course. She was thinking like how this Krishna is. He's coming asking for hot milk when I'm giving him. He's telling कि ठंडा करके दो उसको, और ठंडा करके दो. How is it? मतलब what is happening with him exactly? So she said anyways like I don't want to think about it. She got busy in her course activity, and then later on Mansukh came wrapping around. Yashoda Mata, I saw Krishna. Krishna was devouring the forest fire. Yashoda Mata was like, what? He said, no, I saw Krishna, he was devouring the whole forest fire. We all of us were there in the jungle, and you know, all the coward boys was closing their eyes, but I somehow managed to see Krishna, and he was taking in all the fire. Yashoda Mata was like, why are you disturbing me? Krishna just came now. He can't even drink hot milk. How can he devour the whole forest fire? So what are you trying to say? So then he understood somewhat that it is because of Krishna. Krishna would have done something, and then you know, then he went again back to the site, and then they all enjoyed again. So here, in this photo, it is written, "Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord, but all His actions are wonderful for us." and thus he is always beyond the range of our conceivable limits. He is beyond the limits of our thought process, right? Atha Shri Krishna Namadina Bhavet Graham Indriya. With understanding Krishna by our senses, by our intelligence, by our thought process, is not possible for us to do. Then there is again one incident we can see of Vikrasur. He was again a demon. Demon Vikrasur pleased. This is a story in Krishna book, The Deliverance of Lord Shiva. There is a chapter, second last or third last chapter. And then there was this demon named as Vikrasur, who was trying to get some power, some mystic power through which he can do some demonic activity. And then the moment he was trying to cut his head, Lord Shiva came. I guess he cut around his 9 or 10 heads, right? And then later on when he was doing it again and again, so Shiva saw that, oh, Shiva is already Ashutosh. She was like, no, I should go there, I should help him. And then Shiva went there. And then Shiva asked, what do you want? Vikrasur, I am happy with your this thing, I'll grant you a benediction. Vikrasur that said, oh yes, Lord Shiva, what I want is that give me a power through which give me a power so that if on anyone I just place my hand, that person will turn into ash. He'll just burn out. So Shiva said, okay, I'll give you that benediction. And then what happened then in the other image you can see. वो भगवान के पीछे he thought कि ठीक है अभी दे तो दिया है, अब मैं टेस्ट करता हूँ जरा एक बार टेस्टिंग फेज में. For that testing phase he went behind Lord Shiva, right? He went behind Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva ran. They came out of the universe also, it is mentioned. A very detailed chapter, any one of you can read that. And then later on, Krishna appeared, I guess it was Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu, who came as a child. He took a form of a child and then he told them, oh Vikrasur, what are you doing? Vikrasur was very angry. I want to find Lord Shiva. Where is Lord Shiva? Where is Lord Shiva? Then Krishna, then that small child said, why do you want to find Lord Shiva? Because he gave me this benediction कि किसके भी सर पे हाथ रखूंगा तो he'll जल जाएगा, burn हो जाएगा. So मेरे को try करना है. I want to try that. So boy said, you are taking shelter of Lord Shiva. कौन है Lord Shiva? You don't even know. When you try on you first, how can you believe what Lord Shiva is saying to you? Then he said, okay, let me do that. And the moment he did that, भस्म हो गया, right? So we can see how Krishna is playing this role of illusion. And then again here we can see the Brahma Vimohan Leela, where Brahmaji also got bewildered by the acts of Krishna. A very detailed pastime which we can discuss later on. So these are the points that we can see about how Krishna is a person who is actually bewildering. That's why Arjuna is saying bewildered. Correct? And okay. ठीक है, ये भी श्लोक ले लेते हैं. There is this श्लोक as well. इसमें don't have much. I'll come on to this श्लोक. Yes. This is a there are a couple of sentences in this 3.3 that are golden purport. ठीक है, I'll just read it. ठीक है, we can just recite it once together. Now this is the part where Krishna is actually trying to answer or trying to provide some insight to Arjuna कि what exactly क्या हो रहा है, what is intelligence, what is Sankhya Yoga, what is Karma Yoga. Krishna will give a detailed instruction onto that. Right, we can together. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Loke Asmin Vividhanistha Pura Prokta Mayagnaha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. Now Krishna is talking about two things. See, this chapter is very technical. I mean, we have to read it multiple times to understand what Krishna is trying to say. We have to go back again to chapter 2, to the last section, to understand what Krishna said there. Right now, here what Krishna is trying to say that I have explained two things already. Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam and Karma Yogena Yoginam. One is Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. So previously, if you will see in the second chapter, Krishna had talked about this thing that Hato va prapsase swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmat uttishta kaunteya yudhyaya kritanishyacha. There Krishna talked about fruitive activities कि लड़ोगे तो स्वर्ग मिलेगा, and if you die you will get heaven, otherwise जीतोगे तो you are going to rule on this very beautiful kingdom that you are going to do any which ways. Now Krishna is talking about Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. So Sankhya Yoga, I'll just come on to that, we'll talk about that. And then there is this word Karma Yogena Yoginam. Now this is a very contradicting thing that a lot of people ask us, like, since you are all from ISKCON, why Prabhupada always is translating Karma Yogena Yoginam as a process of devotion. प्रभुपाद हर बार कर्म योगा को डिवोशनल भक्ति क्यों बताते हैं? ये बहुत सारे प्रश्न लोग पूछते हैं. लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर थिंकिंग अबाउट दिस कि व्हाई प्रभुपाद इज ऑलवेज टॉकिंग अबाउट, अभी कर्म योग दिया, ज्ञान योग भी दिया, स्टिल प्रभुपाद इज टॉकिंग अबाउट भक्ति. व्हाई देयर इज एलिमेंट ऑफ भक्ति ऑलवेज? देयर कुड बी एनीथिंग एल्स एज वेल, राइट? बट व्हाई प्रभुपाद इज ऑलवेज टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट भक्ति योगा? सो दैट we can see from here, this is a slide that talks about that thing, right? That what exactly is the difference between, you can say, karma yoga and bhakti. I mean, why Prabhupada always wants to merge this thing? Merge करने में क्या है? Like why do you want to do that? So the answer to that is, there was once a Mayavad. This is a very real incident that happened in Prabhupada's life. There was once a Mayavad who was actually questioning to Srila Prabhupada, saying that Swamiji, in Bhagavad Gita there is nowhere mention about a term of Krishna. Like it's never mentioned about Krishna. There is not a verse where Krishna directly is mentioned, but you have included Krishna in these verses. You have included that Krishna wants this thing, Krishna is saying about devotion service. And why are you doing so? Why you have done that? I mean, you could have kept karma yoga as a different thing, but why are you linking with karma yoga, bhakti yoga? क्यों कर रहे हो? So then Prabhupada quoted this verse to him, and Prabhupada said this thing, man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyachi mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi yuktevyam atmana mad parayana. Prabhupada says that in this shloka 6 times the word mana is mentioned, and Prabhupada said that you Mayavadis, you think that everything is unborn. You think that everything is unborn. उनको लगता है कि everything is impersonalism. So just to cut that understanding of impersonalism, I have purposely brought bhakti yoga as karma yoga. Right? So the exact word is, even when Krishna is explicitly there, you remove him. So to counteract this misleading effect, I put Krishna where he is not explicitly mentioned as well. And for this impersonalism, recently, couple of days back, Gaurang Prabhu was here. He was giving a very nice example, a very nice pastimes of Srila Prabhupada in Amritsar of impersonalism. We would have heard impersonalism के बारे में बहुत सुना हमने. ये हमने उसके बारे में बहुत सुना है, ब्रह्मवाद या सब एक है, कोई अलग नहीं है, सब एक है. तुम नारायण, मैं नारायण, everyone is Narayan, correct? So Gaurang Prabhu was narrating this incident that once in Amritsar, Prabhupada had been called for there was a session where people from different societies or different understanding were there to have a spiritual talk. Spiritual तो नहीं था वो, जो भी talk था, it was like that. And Prabhupada had been there with one of his disciples, and all of them majorly were talking about everything is one, there is no difference. You see your soul, you see the super soul, there is no difference in that. Your body, your soul, everything is one, like that. So Prabhupada sat there for 20-30 minutes. He was bored. He said to his disciple that I am going, I don't want to sit here anymore, they are talking nonsense. And then his disciple said, Prabhupada, now it's your time, you have to speak something here. I mean, everybody has spoke, now you can at least enlighten them. Prabhupada looked at him. Prabhupada said that the level at which they are, you can easily speak. You have more than sufficient knowledge to counteract them. So he went on to the stage, Prabhupada disciple, and since they were saying sab ek hai, he just asked a question to every one of them. If you think ki sab ek hai, do you think that rasgulla is equal to the potty on the street? So they were confused कि ये क्या पूछ लिया, मतलब सब एक है तो रसगुल्ला या गुलाब जामुन, how that can equal to the मतलब potty on the street? So they were bewildered. They thought कि ऐसा कभी सोचा ही नहीं है. And ये एक ही चीज़ उन्होंने बोला, बस उन लोग इतना बड़ा टॉक दे रहे थे. He just spoke with one line and everyone was out. And then later on, everybody went to Prabhupada, your disciple. I mean, we thought he'll give us very nice, conclusive understanding. But what he said, Prabhupada said, like, what happened? What did he say? Prabhupada said that, he said कि सब एक है. We were saying that. He said कि सब एक है तो गुलाब जामुन पोटी के बराबर है क्या? He said like that. And Prabhupada, how this is possible? So Prabhupada called him, and Prabhupada said that you said like this. So he said, yes, Prabhupada, I said this. Prabhupada said that, okay, so see, my disciples, these foreign disciples, they have a very graphic way of representing things. That's why they have given this very big, such kind of examples, which is beyond your thought. So ठीक है, it's fine. And they all went. And then Prabhupada called him separately. कि इधर आइए जरा एक बार. Prabhupada called him कि just come here. And then Prabhupada said that the example that you gave is perfect. From where you got that? Okay, Prabhupada, I just thought of it randomly. So Prabhupada said, very nice. It's a very nice. What was that example? Then Prabhupada, he explained that example. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada said, it's very nice. You can use it. Prabhupada said, you can use it. So we can understand, right, that this impersonalism, they, however they are, but still Prabhupada and the books that Prabhupada has written counteract them. So there is this slide that talks about, since we are talking about karma yoga, so we should first understand what is karma and what is yoga, and what is karma yoga combined. Karma, one thing is fruitive activities, ritualistic activities that you are performing that will have a result, right? Kim karma kim akarmeti kavyapyatra mohita tatte karma pravakshami yadgyatva. What is that? किम कर्म किम अकर्मेति काव्यो अपि यत्र मोहितः. ठीक है. Anyways, it says that one who knows the difference between karma and akarma, that person will be never bound by the laws of karma. Correct. So first we should know what is karma. Based on what Krishna is saying, we should know. As Krishna has always said, ye me matam idam nityam anuttishtanti manava shraddhavan anusuyantam uchchante te api karma bhi. Whatever Krishna is saying, if you are trying to understand that thing, then मुच्चन्ते अपि कर्म भी, कर्म से आगे निकल जाएंगे. So this karma or fruitive activities, what are those? We can read it. If one becomes attracted simply to ritualistic activities without understanding Krishna, his activities are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So he is doing some activity just for his sense gratification. Correct? And if he is doing this activity for his sense gratification without bringing Krishna into picture, then that is not favorable for Krishna consciousness. And for that thing, we can see there are these three examples. One example is of King Niga, then Ravan, and then sages of Naimisharanya. In addition to that, there is one more example that you guys might have heard of for fruitive activities, is of Maharaja Nahush. So Maharaja Nahush story is that when Indra killed Vritrasur, so there was a brief period of time when Indra was not there. He was hiding somewhere. And at that point of time, the people in the heavenly kingdom were worried that if there is no administrator, imagine Modi nahi country mein. So you need someone, right? You need somebody, his replacement. So they thought that we need someone at this instance who can actually be present and who can rule over the heavenly kingdom. That's when what they did, they thought of who is the eligible candidate. Among us to koi hai nahi, unko dikha hi nahi koi. Then they heard that there is a person residing in the earth. That person name is Maharaja Nahush. Maharaja Nahush was a very pious king, a very charity oriented king. So they called him and they insisted him that since Indra is not there for now, so what we suggest is that you come here and you rule for some time. And because of his charity or because of his position, he was able to go to heaven. And but jab wahan pe he was tha, and there was the wife of Indra, Sati, right? Sati, her name is Sati. Sachi. Her name is Sachi. So he somehow or other got attracted to Sachi. And because of that, he said that ab Indra bhi nahi hai, so I would like you to, I want you to marry. And how I would come? I would come on a palanquin, he said. Palanquin मतलब ये what it is said, पालकी पहले होता था ना, पालकी में लेके जाते थे. करेक्ट. So he said कि मैं पालकी में आऊँगा उनको लेने के लिए. So he had written a letter and he sent to her. And then she somehow consulted with Brahma and she said ki like this person is mad or what. I mean he has came here because of his fruitive activity, but still what he is trying to do, मुझे हरना चाहता है, like that. So then later on that time came, Brahma said, you agree, everything I'll see. So she agreed, and then Maharaja Nahush, he was sitting on that palanquin. That palanquin was going, and then there was one rishi, and of course what he said that कि palanquin पालकी उठाने के लिए you need healthy people, right? कोई पतला दुबला नहीं उठा सकता. But he was like कि ब्राह्मण लोग सिर्फ खा के सोते हैं. He said कि I want brahmanas to lift my palki, since now he is the administrator of the heavenly kingdom. He was puffed up. He said कि I want only brahmanas to lift my palki, और कोई नहीं उठाएगा. So brahmanas का काम क्या है? They eat, they sleep, and they ved पठन पाठम यज्ञ, they do all these things, right? But somehow he wanted that, so they agreed कि ठीक है चलो, if he wants we'll help them, we'll help him in that way, we are bound. So they all were there, they all were picking up the palanquin. He was sitting, they were marching towards the house of Sachin, and in between it was so happening that the brahmanas are not that strong, right? They cannot do some heavy lifting work. So the palki or the palanquin used to shake in between. वो थोड़ा सा ट्रिफल होता था, हिलने लगा था. And then Maharaja Nahush became frustrated कि what is happening exactly. And then he saw there is a rishi whose height is a bit small, and he shouted at him twice or thrice. He shouted at him, and then he hit him with his leg. And that rishi kept the palanquin down, and he said, now I give you this curse that you will now itself return to the planet Earth in the form of a chameleon, right? That's when he landed in. So this story is not of that. This is of King Riga, which we have already discussed. These are very big stories. So, but what I want to say essentially is that we can see that Maharaja Nahush doing fruitive activities, he went to the position of Indra. He could have ruled it, he could have gained some experience, लेकिन कंपनी में प्रॉब्लम कर दिया तो एचआर ने निकाल दिया, like that, right? He got cursed in that case, right? So this is the issue with the karma, with the fruitive activities. But what goes well is when that karma के साथ आप लास्ट में एक वर्ड ऐड करते हो, that is yoga, right? When you add a yoga with the word karma, then you are saying that whatever activity I am doing, I am engaging my full, I am doing my activity to the fullest, but whatever the output is, I am giving up to Krishna, like that. So this is about that. And इसमें संख्या है, एक मिनट. Yes. So yes, this Sankhya Yoga, I mean it's repeated multiple times. Sankhya Yoga, very simple thing. There's a very slide which talks about very simply what the Sankhya means. So Sankhya Yoga means the study of nature, the study of the nature of the spirit and matter. So in the 5th chapter, I mean now to understand this, we can see that now Krishna is talking about Sankhya Yoga, he is talking about Karma Yoga. And then again in 5th chapter Krishna says Sankhya Yoga pritak bala pravaddanti na panditah ekam sa asthitya. He says that Sankhya Yoga, or person who is considering that Sankhya Yoga is different from devotional service, that person is actually not learned. Because a person who is learned, he knows that there is no difference between Sankhya Yoga and Jnana Yoga or another Karma Yoga, because the ultimate end is reaching to Krishna. So this Sankhya Yoga studies the 24 element of this nature. There are 24 material element. Anybody knows what those 24 material elements are?
5 senses.
Yes. Prabhuji has almost answered 1/4 of that answer, but still I'll try to again repeat it, right? So this Sankhya Yoga is studying from the matter. It's studying the matter first. कि matter आया, is studying the matter first. So how it says that there are 24 elements. That 24 elements are divided into different groups. The first group is of 10 senses, total 11 senses. Of them, 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So 5 working senses हो गया, hands, legs हो गया, mouth, and then you have your anus and genitals. And then you have 5 knowledge acquiring senses. What are those senses? Eyes, ears, nose, touch, and then taste. So these are your 10 senses. And then 1 plus addition, that is mind. So total ये 11 हो गया, right? हमको 24 काउंट करना है, याद रखो, ठीक है. सो नाउ वी आर अप टू 11. देन अगेन कम्स 5 additional things. पंच महाभूत, भूमि, अपो, अनलो, वायु, ठीक है. वो जो श्लोक है एवरीथिंग इज इंक्लूडेड देयर. सो अर्थ, वाटर, एयर, फायर एंड ईथर. सो 11 + 5 16. 16 के बाद देर इज 3 more things, दैट इज मन, बुद्धि एंड अहंकार, माइंड, इंटेलिजेंस एंड ईगो. सो 16 + 3 19. 19 के बाद देर आर द 5 सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट्स, रस, रूप, गंध, so on, like the total 5 these things, correct? So when these 5 things are combined, so that is 24 element. So they are saying that now these 24 elements are existing, but some of them are able to go beyond that. Some of their intelligence is stuck onto that bus. They are just focusing onto the philosophical speculation. That's why Prabhupada in the purport of chapter 3.3 writes a very nice statement which every one of us should memorize, that religion without philosophy is sentiment and philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So अगर आप सिर्फ रिलीजन को लेके चल रहे हो बट उसका कुछ फिलोसॉफी नहीं, दैट इज फैनेटिज्म. एंड इफ यू जस्ट हैव फिलोसॉफी बट देयर इज नो रिलीजन, सो यू आर जस्ट डूइंग मेंटल स्पेकुलेशन. As it is said, ज्ञाने प्रयासम मुदपश्चमन्त एव जीवन्ति सन्मुखरितं भवदीयवार्तं स्थाने स्थितश्रुतिगतां तनुवाक् मनोभिः ये प्रयास वजितो जितो अपितैस्त्रिलोक्यम्. So it is said, Brahmaji says this prayer to Krishna, that there are people who are trying to understand you by mental speculation, and there are people on the other hand who are just staying in their occupation. Staying in their occupation means, as Krishna is saying to Arjuna, right? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, तुम जहाँ हो वहीं पे रहो, but just keep thinking about me. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि संन्यास मत्परः अनन्येव योगेन माम ध्यायन्ते उपासते तेषाम अहम समुद्धरता मृत्यु संसार सागरात् भवामि नामे चिरत पार्थ मयि अवेष्टि च चेतसाम्. That whatever activities are there, ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि संन्यास मत्परः, whatever the activities are there, उसका आउटपुट जो भी आएगा लीव अपॉन ऑन. अनन्येव योगेन माम ध्यायन्ते उपासते, विदाउट एनी डाइवर्जन, विदाउट गोइंग हियर एंड देयर. जैसा अभी ओलंपिक्स चल रहा है, राइट? कैसा भागते हो लोग, दे रन इन द सेम स्पीड, यू कैन सी, राइट? दे आर लेजर फोकस्ड. सो अनन्येव योगेन, यू हैव टू बी दैट लेजर फोकस्ड. माम ध्यायन्ते उपासते, वर्शिप में. इफ यू डू दैट, तेषाम अहम समुद्धरता मृत्यु संसार सागरात्. इफ यू डू दैट, सो ऑफ दिस बर्थ, डेथ, जो भी थिंग है, आई विल से तेषाम अहम समुद्धरता मृत्यु संसार सागरात् भवामि नामे चिरत पार्थ मयि अवेष्टि च चेतसाम्. यू जस्ट इन्वेस्ट योर चित्त, योर थॉट इन me. And since Krishna is dwelling within our heart, tesham evanukampahartam aham ajnanajam tamah nasyasmi atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhaspata. With the lamp of knowledge, he is going to clean everything. He is going to provide us that understanding by staying within. Correct? So just coming on to the conclusion of what we can understand. See, there are multiple things have been spoken about. There are this Sankhya Yoga, there is this Karma Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is doing an analytical study, and the Karma Yoga again that Krishna is talking about is working in devotional service. Okay, it may sound thoda technical. It's a very, we can go on and on discussing about these things, but eventually confusions in our life, the first part जो है dealing with confusions in our life, this confusion can be solved when we take shelter of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita can provide, or Bhagavad Gita, with holding a Bhagavad Gita, you can pre and post be a person from confusions to clarity. You can be a person who was confused and post reading a Bhagavad Gita or understanding a Bhagavad Gita, not by our understanding, by coming to such classes, right? By taking the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, by taking the shelter of a Guru, Updesha Kentite Jnana Jnanena Tattva Darshana, through which he will provide you that understanding, then you will be able to get that clarity of understanding this thing. And secondly, अब शांता योग आप लोग ने सुन लिया कि 24 एलिमेंट को आइडेंटिफाई करना है. हमारे पास 24 घंटा है, 12 महीने है. You think within this 12 months, 24 hours we are able to identify everything? Do you think that possible है ये एज में? लगता है? Is there anyone who can say that प्रभु मैं 24 का 24 एलिमेंट I'll just find it throughout my entire life? Find कर लोगे, but what do you do after that? Because Sankhya Yoga is not just about finding 24 elements. It's finding about 24 elements है, beyond that what is there. 24 element कहाँ से आ रहा है? When I say clouds, when I say fire, when I say for instance this projector, correct, this light I am talking about, light कहाँ से आ रहा है? सोर्स से. सोर्स किससे कनेक्टेड है? इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कहाँ से आ रही है? पावर हाउस. ऐसा ढूंढते 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 when you will go, you will realize that the source is Krishna. ठीक है, so answer is only one, Krishna. Okay, so that's why seeing this is not possible at this age, so Krishna varnam trusha krishnam sangopangasta pasadam yagya sankirtana pray yajanti hi sumedasa. That's why considering us Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bought Harinam कि they won't understand Sankhya philosophy. It's very difficult, you may understand, but implementing and contemplating on that philosophy is very difficult. It will take a lot of time. If you want, you can read the third canto, the teachings of Kapila. You can read that, Kapil Muni. You will understand all these things. But still, for this age, it is much beneficial that we take the shelter of holy name of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay. If you have any question, maybe. Yes, Prabhu.
Please identify.
कौन सा प्रोजेक्ट समझा नहीं? बोलिए, हिंदी में बोलिए ना, चलेगा.
जो आइडेंटिटी तो बोला ना सेकंड में सर.
ये आइडेंटिटी क्या है?
इसका क्लियर क्या?
हाँ, आइडेंटिटी मतलब प्रो जी बताया गया है कि हम कौन है. ठीक है, अभी जैसे हम नॉर्मली आप किसी व्यक्ति को बाहर पूछेंगे कि आप कौन है, तो एक व्यक्ति, सरल व्यक्ति आपको उत्तर देगा कि मैं जैसा भी आप मुझे पूछेंगे, मैं जो भक्ति नहीं करता मैं बोलूँगा मैं सागर हूँ, बट मैं वो नहीं हूँ. ठीक है, जैसा अभी आप है, आप कपड़ा है कि आप शरीर हो? आप अभी शरीर हो, करेक्ट. क्योंकि कपड़ा आप अभी घर पे जाके आप यहाँ स्टे करोगे तो आप चेंज करोगे, करेक्ट. तो उसी प्रकार हमारी आइडेंटिटी जो होती है, हमारी आइडेंटिटी ये नहीं है. उसी प्रकार भगवान भगवद गीता में बताते हैं, वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णन्ति नरोपराणि तथा शरीरानि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि सम्यति नवानि देहि. जिस प्रकार एक जीवन के बाद दूसरा जीवन हम व्यतीत करते हैं, अलग अलग शरीर को धारण करते हैं, धारण करने के साथ क्या होता है, हम अलग अलग शरीर तो धारण कर रहे हैं, परंतु एक चीज़ सदैव हमारे साथ रहती है, नित्य चलती रहती है, वो है हमारा चित्त, वो है हमारा सोल. तो आत्मा वाली चीज़ है कि मैं आत्मा हूँ. जो प्रभुपाद बोलते हैं यू आर नॉट दिस बॉडी, यू आर द सोल. तो वो सोल जो आप आत्मा है, वो चीज़ है आइडेंटिटी. वो समझना कि मैं आइडेंटिटी मेरी क्या है. आइडेंटिटी कार्ड होता था ना स्कूल में, कॉलेज में, कंपनी में होता है आइडेंटिटी कार्ड, हम लेके घूमते. वो तो फॉल्स आइडेंटिटी है, लेकिन असली आइडेंटिटी ये है. हाँ, तो आइडेंटिटी का अर्थ वही है कि आप आत्मा हो. आइडेंटिटी का अर्थ वही है जो भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को संक्षेप में बता रहे हैं कि आप क्या हैं, आप आत्मा हैं. तो वही है उसका उत्तर. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. कोई नहीं. ट्री प्रभु ये तीसरे चैप्टर का है. अब धीरे धीरे जब हम पढ़ेंगे ना तो और डिटेल में जाएंगे. अभी इधर ही, क्योंकि एक्चुअली क्या है, थोड़ा थर्ड चैप्टर प्रैक्टिकली इट्स वेरी टेक्निकल, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, थोड़ा टेक्निकल हो जाता है. तो द मोमेंट हम लोग आगे जाते जाएंगे आपको धीरे धीरे समझ में आएगा वो चीज़ क्यों लिखा गया है, क्या उसका मतलब है. करेक्ट, लाइक. तो वो एक्रोनिम है. जैसा अभी ये गीता है ना, जो गीता लिखा है हमने, तो हमने गीता क्यों लिखा है, जिससे आपको पता चलेगा कि दूसरे चैप्टर में क्या क्या हुआ था. आप हर चीज़ याद नहीं रख पाएंगे, परंतु जब आपको ये याद रहेगा कि दिस इज गीता, तो आपको पता चलेगा कि गुरु के बारे में बताया, आत्मा के बारे में बताया, दो धर्म के बारे में बताया, फिर आत्माराम के बारे में बताया. उसी प्रकार जब मैं तीसरा चैप्टर बात करूंगा तो मैं याद रख सकता हूँ ट्री. वो ट्री को कंसिडर रख के मैं तीसरे चैप्टर का अंडरस्टैंडिंग बता सकता हूँ. लाइक, ठीक है, ठीक. हरे कृष्ण.
Prabhupada ki jai. So we thank Sagar for his nice explanation on second chapter, third chapter, second and third verse. Prabhu ji बोल रहे थे confusion से कैसे डील करना सीख रहे हैं. तो मुझे आप लोग confusion clear हो रहा है या confused हो रहे हो? क्या लग रहा है? Clear हो रहा है? क्या क्लियर हो रहा है? आपकी बात क्या क्लियर हो, कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है? विश्वास है मतलब कि होगा, हो रहा है कि नहीं, क्या हो रहा है आज, क्या कंफ्यूजन कर दिया वो बताइए। हाँ जी, हो रहा है आपको पता चल रहा है क्या हो रहा है वो बताइए। ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। तो यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है मैं आपको बताता हूँ। आपके पास में अगर आपको मोच आ रहेगा या अगर आपका ऐसा नष्ट कर दिया रहेगा, कभी हुआ है आपके साथ पैर में मोच आ जाए, नष्ट कर जाता है, तो कभी शोल्डर ये जाता है, ऐसा मतलब स्लिप हो जाता है, तो वो टाइम में दर्द होता है, लेकिन उसको जब क्योर करना है तो क्या करना पड़ता है। अभी इसमें किसका कंधा खिसक गया है, तो कंधा खिसका कंधे को अगर अपने पोजिशन में लाना है तो क्या करना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा और ज्यादा दर्द सह के उसको अपने जगह पे लाना पड़ेगा। समझ रहे हैं, इसको मोच आ गया है तो उसको थोड़ा सा ठीक करना है, तो कभी कभी डॉक्टर कुछ ऐसा फीचर बोलता है उसको करने के लिए, तो उससे और होता है लेकिन धीरे धीरे ठीक होता है। तो वैसे ही यहाँ पर भी हो रहा है कि हमारा जो कन्फ्यूजन है लाइफ में वो सब छोटा कन्फ्यूजन है, हमारे तक सीमित है, लेकिन यहाँ पर जो अर्जुन का जो कन्फ्यूजन है वो थोड़ा बड़ा कन्फ्यूजन है। ठीक है, तो उस कन्फ्यूजन के चक्कर में भगवान हमारा कन्फ्यूजन ठीक कर रहा है, तो ये ज़्यादा कन्फ्यूज लगेगा आपको, लेकिन जैसा आप समझ रहे हैं धीरे धीरे आपका वो कन्फ्यूजन क्लियर हो जाएगा। और जब ये कन्फ्यूजन क्लियर हो गया तो फिर ये जो छोटा बड़ा कन्फ्यूजन है उस जीवन का वो कुछ इफेक्ट ही नहीं करेगा। ठीक है, तो आप लोग आते रहिए और आपके दोस्तों को भी आते रहिए। आज तो गणेश चतुर्थी होने की वजह से गणेश जी का भक्ति कर रहे हैं सभी, कोई बात नहीं। सो हम आपका भी स्वागत करते हैं और आपका भी धन्यवाद देते हैं। 3 बार हरि बोल बोलकर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। आपसे भी चैंटिंग करते रहिए और प्रभा जी जो किताबें हैं खास करके भगवद गीता, भागवत, चैतन्यचरितामृत, स्टेज बाय स्टेज ये इनको पढ़ते जाना। ठीक है, ये हमारा यही होना चाहिए। हरे कृष्ण। तो 5 मिनट कीर्तन करेंगे, फिर उसके बाद प्रसाद देंगे।